Hello, everyone, and welcome to game-changing M365 backup service. What small businesses need to know. Great title, huh? Today's webinar is sponsored by Veeam and produced by Actual Tech Media. My name is Keith Ward. I'm with Actual Tech Media, and I am excited to be your moderator for this special event. Now, before we get to today's great content, though, there's some housekeeping items I need to let you know about so you can get the most out of this event. First of all, we love it when you ask questions, and we encourage you to put them in the questions box in your webinar control panel that you can see there on the right of your screen. Now, at the end of this event, we are going to do an in-depth Q&A session as well. So please ask away and keep asking. Now, that Q&A panel is also the place to let us know about any technical issues you might be experiencing. Remember to give your browser a quick refresh or two if things go sideways, and that should fix it. If it doesn't, let us know in that Q&A, and we will endeavor to help you out. All right, next up, the handouts section has numerous resources, and you should check that out now. That handout section is right next to that questions tab up there on the right. I'd especially like to call your attention to some great resources from Veeam, including an M365 backup guide and an ebook on M365 recovery best practices. I mean, wow, that is some great stuff. In addition to all that Veeam goodness, you're going to find a link to the ATM Decisions Group, which is a panel of IT decision makers that you can apply to join and participate in some more in-depth events and other opportunities. There's also a link there to the ATM Events Center, which has our calendar of upcoming events like this one. Check that out. See if there's some more ones that float your boat and sign up. And next, at the end of this webinar today, we are going to be awarding a $250 Amazon gift card to one of you on today. Now, you have to be in attendance during the live event to qualify for the prize, and the official terms and conditions of that prize drawing can be found in the handouts section as well. If you just scroll to the bottom, you'll find the link with the details there. Now, I mentioned a minute ago about questions and how much we like them. Well, we really like them, and to encourage even more questions today, we have got another special prize. This is going to be an additional $50 Amazon gift card for the best question that comes in during the event. So when the event is over, what we're going to do is gather these questions up, pick what we think is the best one, and we will contact that winner in terms of getting their prize. So hopefully that is enough encouragement for you to be asking questions today. And with that, folks, I think it's time to get to the main event. What do you think? Yes, I hear you all in agreement out there in internet land. It is my pleasure right now to introduce you to our presenters today. That is Colin Hanks, no relation to Tom. He is a product marketing manager with Veeam, and he is joined by Tim Smith, a senior solutions architect with Veeam as well. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. It is a delight to have you here. And Colin, please take it away.
Thanks, Keith. Hi, everybody. Hope everyone's having a great week. We're looking forward to talking today about Veeam Data Cloud for Microsoft 365 with our senior solutions architect, Tim Smith. Tim, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really good, Colin. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Looking forward to talking about this game-changing backup service. Let's get started. So recently, Veeam announced our continued partnership with Microsoft by extending our strategic partnership for an additional 5 years. What does this mean and why is this important? So this allows us to expand our relationship across multiple dimensions. This includes us being able to jointly innovate on solutions to protect customers by integrating products from the Veeam family with Microsoft Copilot and AI services. It allows us to launch new backup and recovery capabilities for Microsoft Azure, as well as integrated support of the latest APIs for Microsoft 365 backup storage, which enables accelerated backup and restore speeds with Veeam Backup and Recovery from Microsoft 365. So a lot of exciting news coming with this partnership, and we're excited to continue it with Microsoft. Based on that, as you might know, Microsoft data is attacked and critical data loss is very common. In a recent study, we saw 53% have experienced data loss or corruption in SaaS applications in the last 12 months. Of those, less than 25% are able to recover 100% of their Microsoft 365 data during a data loss incident. But with Veeam and our partnership, we're able to recover 10 times faster. Awesome. So what does this mean, though? What does backups as a service mean to you? We'd love to know what you think. Please go ahead in the chat and let us know what backup as a service means to you. But I'm going to turn it over to Tim now. Tim, what does a backup service mean in your opinion?
Yeah, I think backup as a service is a newer concept for Veeam, right? We've always provided on-premises backup solutions for our customers over the last, well, many years, right? And when I think of backup as a service, what I think of is that somebody else is taking care of that infrastructure, that security, all that hardening that needs to be done to protect that data. They're taking care of that for you and for thousands of other customers. So they've got that skill set to ensure that the data is secure, protected, the environment is hardened against attacks. And that's what I think of with backup as a service, that it's a white glove, they'll take care of me kind of environment. And we've got some really good other answers here from the Cloud Protections Trends Report. You can see, offsite repository in the cloud, operated, monitored, managed by third-party experts, which I think ties into the security expertise that I just talked about, but also the reduced use of on-site hardware. And that's something I think a lot of people don't consider when they're doing backups of a SaaS service like M365, is that if you are going to bring it on premises, you're going to have that hardware and that storage costs. Whereas a backup as a service like Veeam Data Cloud, that's all taken care of for you.
Which I think is super important, right, for a small business, because it allows them to really offload that and focus more on actual customers, improving the business, scaling it out, et cetera, right?
Exactly. The last thing that we want is for our customers to have to worry about how they're going to protect their data, how they're going to manage that data protection. They've got a business to run. They've got employees to that they need to have be productive, right? We don't want your IT staff or your IT person to have to be bogged down with data protection when it can be, all taken care of for you with a service like Veeam Data Cloud.
100%. And, what are some benefits of a backup service for Microsoft 365, Tim?
Right. So one of the key differentiators that we offer here is all inclusive. So it's a simple data protection. We have all of this included for you in the back end. The data movers, we have unlimited storage, secure entry into the environment, maintenance, updates, but more importantly, it's quick and easy to get set up. And that's going to save you some time, and it's going to save you some money in the long run too, not having to manage your own service. And then that way too, we're securely deployed into Azure data centers. So compliance from a security standpoint and a physical security standpoint is not an issue anymore. But also compliance on the customer side, right? A lot of customers have compliance requirements for protecting data, and that includes messaging data like Microsoft 365. And that's what this is. It's tailored specifically for Microsoft 365, your Exchange Online data, your OneDrive data, SharePoint, Teams, that's all included in this Veeam Data Cloud backup for Microsoft 365.
100%. And what's interesting too is when you say tailored, one thing at Veeam that we really take pride in is offering our customers a choice and the ability to find a product within the Veeam family that makes the most sense to them, that fits those needs. So in order to do that, we've come up with 3 ways to protect Microsoft 365 with Veeam. Either through our backup software, this new backup service that we're talking about today with Veeam Data Cloud for Microsoft 365, or through our partners through a managed service. So let's dive in a little bit more and see, what really the variations here are between these three options.
Yeah, so I think hopefully a lot of customers are already familiar with Veeam's on-premises products. Specifically in this instance, we'll talk about the Veeam backup for Microsoft 365. It's software that's downloadable. It's a software only solution. So customers would have to, provide their hardware. Maybe there's extra resources in their virtualization environment. Maybe they have additional storage. So we would deploy the software. You would set it up. You would choose storage to store your backups. You would have your um, software updates, your operating system updates would be taken care of, by your plans that you have already, maybe Windows Services Update. You would handle backup operations, restore operations, right? And you would set the control as far as how often you want to back up, what sort of data loss is acceptable for you when you're setting your RPOs and RTOs. And then I'm going to skip all the way down to the bottom is we've had also our VCSPs or cloud service providers offer Veeam backup for Microsoft 365 as a service in their infrastructures. And they take care of all the hardware, all the planning, right? They take care of setting up backup jobs, restore operations, and the SLA. So it's really a white glove service that could take care of everything. For those customers that really need a complete hands-off approach, they don't want to touch it at all. They don't want to think about it. They want somebody else to handle it completely. But where there was a gap was right there in the middle. And that's where Veeam Data Cloud comes in, is we provide backup as a service, which means we take care of that hardware, infrastructure, the backup storage, all the security and software updates, but still give you the ability to control the things that matter to you, how often you're going to back up, who you're going to back up, what mailboxes, what OneDrives. You need to handle restore operations. You don't want to pass that off to another company. Maybe that's something you want to keep internal so you can handle your restore operations, or have self-service restore for your employees. And you're in control then of setting your recovery point objectives, your RPOs, and your recovery time objectives, your RTOs. And so with these three options now, we have the whole gambit of solution for our customers, from hands-on to completely hands-off.
I love what you said there, Tim, about there being a gap, because I know that in recent years and looking at a lot of data and reports, it's true. There has been a gap in this backup service availability. And I think one thing that we want to do for our customers is, we always want to listen to what they're hearing in the market. We always want to know what's going on in the market. And so being able to provide this backup service now is game changing for Veeam. So it's really exciting opportunity. Which leads us into why we're all here. So Veeam Data Cloud, which is built on Microsoft Azure, delivers the confidence and reliability of the industry's leading platform while giving you the ease and accessibility of a cloud service. Currently, we have this available for both Microsoft 365 and Microsoft Azure, but we are working on additional workloads that will be coming soon. But right now, Microsoft 365 and Microsoft Azure are the available options in the truck. So let's talk a little bit more about Microsoft 365 with VDC. So as you can see, this is a resilient data protection made simple through trusted industry-leading technology, modern and secure and intuitive. And as Tim mentioned, everything's included. So let's dive a little more into exactly what this means, though. Tim?
Yeah, Veeam backup for Microsoft 365 has been around for quite a while now. As an on-premises software solution. And in fact, it's the leading solution for protecting Microsoft 365 workloads. In fact, there's over 18 million Microsoft 365 users protected by Veeam right now. We've had over a decade of innovation around this product, starting with just simple Exchange backups to Teams and Teams chats, and using the latest Microsoft APIs and working closely with Microsoft to develop APIs specific for backup. And that makes Veeam one of the key Microsoft 365 backup partners. And I think that's one of the great things to consider here, is because we have such a close partnership with Microsoft and a co-development of how this data needs to transfer from Microsoft 365 out to a customer's offsite backup repository, out of the 365 envelope, if you will. But Veeam has been doing this now for, like I said, over 10 years with the on-premises VB365 product, which means that it's got a proven track record of reliability, stability, performance, and has had time to get all those feature requests and really see how the how customers want to use this product, right? Not just how developers think they want to use it, but we've had plenty of time to get that feedback from customers on what they're actually looking for from a backup product for Microsoft 365. And I think one other thing I'll add here, right, is with Microsoft's recent addition of backup APIs and integrations with backup storage, Veeam was one of the first to be certified for Microsoft Teams backups. And Microsoft's also, saying, hey, we recognize there is a legitimate reason to back up your workloads in M365. And they're working on, again, those platforms to be able to allow us to get that data out, and partnering with Veeam to ensure that your data is safe in that environment. Because that is the customer's responsibility, is the data, right? As Microsoft's responsible for the infrastructure only.
Yeah, and I think too, with that partnership, kind of going back to what we were saying in the beginning, it's that joint innovation of two companies looking to help protect their customers, right? So I think, everything you're saying is in completely complete alignment. So when we say everything is included, what does that exactly mean, Tim?
Yeah, so pretty much everything, right? So on the left, you can see what Veeam is going to provide for you. So this is very similar to what you're already familiar with because you're an M365 subscriber, right? So Microsoft handles the infrastructure, the servers, the backend Exchange servers, and all the customization they have there. And then you are in charge of your data, right? Creating mailboxes, things like that, OneDrives, SharePoint sites. It's very similar to Veeam Data Cloud for M365. We cover the Veeam managed service delivery, the core components, right? We've got the hardware, we've got the software there. We handle the day-to-day operations, ensuring network security, physical security, infrastructure management, maintenance of those servers. So that's going to include update, patches, right? Everything that is mundane, that doesn't need to be worried about when you just need to restore something. And then on the right, we've got what the users are going to control, right? What you as a customer are able to do. You're able to manage your backup jobs. Whether you want to just protect your entire organization, simple click, everything's protected. Or if you want to be very specific and maybe set up specific jobs, if certain people need to be protected more often, or if certain things are not, maybe there are test SharePoint sites or test environments or things that don't need to be protected, you have the control to be able to handle your backup customization, and also choose which storage region you want that data to be stored in. And of course, restore and e-discovery. Restore capabilities have been proven. The restore capabilities in this product are built on the restore capabilities in the on-premises product. And specifically, those have been around for even longer than M365 because a lot of these capabilities came from restoring Exchange servers. So you get that granularity and that advanced search capability, which can give you e-discovery, right? Yeah, I need to find all emails from this person between this time and date that contain this word in the message body. So maybe you have a request to, provide something to a lawyer for whatever reason, or you just simply need to find out all things for a particular project in your organization that was handled. Veeam has the capability to give you that e-discovery capability, utility, I should say, inside the product. And of course, we can generate reports, protection reports, so you can easily see who's being protected and the ability to manage your licenses and get that data out as well.
100%. I think what I like most about this too, especially for smaller businesses, is the fact that, the automations, the operations, and the core components are all managed for you, which again gives you the opportunity to focus on growing your business, focus on your customers, focus on what really matters rather than having to spend extra time, doing all this managed work that Veeam now covers for you. So let's talk about modern, secure, and intuitive, Tim.
Yeah, we'll see here in a little bit with a demo how intuitive the UI is, and I think everybody will find it pretty easy. You can get a little preview there in the bottom right-hand corner. Fairly simple to navigate through. So easy that, when you get signed up and you've added your organization in, most of the time, a new backup job of your organization will be created automatically for you. And within 10 minutes, once you're in there, you'll see your jobs are running and your data is getting protected. The nice thing I talked about a little bit earlier is you do have the ability to choose the region of your choice, right? So if you're on the West Coast of the US, East Coast, right, you can choose where your data is going to be stored within your country's region. And my favorite thing is security around logins. So because our customers for Veeam Data Cloud are all Microsoft 365 customers, that means that we can utilize Microsoft for authentication. It's not a separate authentication. As a small business, you don't have to worry about, oh, it's something else I need to set up. And how am I going to do this with two-factor authentication? And now I've got to worry about an app and, codes, and it's something else to worry about. And, it's another attack vector, maybe. This is all handled via single sign-on with Microsoft 365. So you're providing, users email addresses that you want to be able to have access into here for an admin. So let's say we're going to have Joe be an admin. We add in Joe's company email as being an admin. When he goes to sign in to Veeam Data Cloud, he gets redirected to Microsoft authentication. Your policies that you have in place for two-factor authentication, any restrictions you have, maybe it's only accessible from your internal company IPs, right? That's all taken care of on Microsoft's side with those policies you already have set up, authenticated through Microsoft, that token sent back into Veeam Data Cloud, and you're in.
It's awesome. Honestly, this product is really exciting to me. I think this is a really exciting opportunity and a great time, to be looking at new innovations. But I know that, we've talked about the Microsoft partnership. We've talked a little bit about BAS and kind of the components of VDC for M365. But Tim, you want to take us through a quick demo and show them really how this all works?
Yeah, Colin, let's go ahead and stop sharing your screen and I'll take over. Excellent. And one thing is, Colin, I believe we're going to provide also some click-through demos that are going to be available for them to walk through on their own after this, right?
We are. You're giving away the
Excellent.
secret sauce early, but yes,
I
exactly
just,
what you're doing.
okay, excellent. I wanted to make sure because I know we're not going to have a whole lot of time to go through everything here. So I wanted to touch on a few key points, but I'm glad that they're going to have the ability to walk through this on their own as well.
Absolutely.
So you guys had a preview of the dashboard a little bit ago. And so here it is, right? Quick backup status, user count, storage consumption, a really good overview of what's going on in your organization. So I can quickly see here in my demo environment that only 3 of my accounts are protected, and I still have 17 unprotected accounts. So I should probably go in and actually protect the rest of these users to make sure that my data is safe. And if I scroll down here, I can also see some restore options. They're also available on the left, and recent user activity. So I've done some restores here and there, but let's look at my backup jobs real quick. I have 2 here. It's a small environment. I'm only protecting 3 users right now, right? I need to add my other 17. But I've got a user account backup and shared objects backup. And what that is simply my user accounts are going to be my mailboxes, my archive mailboxes, and my OneDrives and personal SharePoint sites. And shared objects contain my teams, my SharePoint sites, things like that. So I can look at the job logs here of each of those. I can view those logs. I can download those logs, but I can easily see that each time this job has run, the last status is protected, right? And if I want to manage the backups, I can do that so I can edit them. So one of the most important things about backups is going to be the ability to restore those backups into your environment. This should be pretty self-explanatory, right? I see my organization, I see users that I have here. I can restore an entire mailbox. I have the ability to come down and restore individual messages as well. So if I want to restore this particular message, I can click on Restore Selected Item, and then I have the ability to restore back to M365 to another location, another user's mailbox and folder, download locally, or if I need to restore back to the original location, specifically around OneDrive and SharePoint, I have the ability to restore only changed or missing items. Or if I'm doing a bulk restore and exchange too, if I'm restoring an entire mailbox, I don't want to restore everything if some of that stuff still exists there. One of my favorite features, and this is on the on-premises product as well, is this compare with production, which will look at the mailbox in your backup and the mailbox in M365, and then let you know here in this display, hey, these are all the items that are different than what exists in M365 right now. So you get a really quick view of why things are missing. Oh, this one's changed, this one's deleted. And in OneDrive, you'll see we have a very similar setup where we're going to see the user, we're going to see their folders, we're going to see uh, uh, all the data within those folders, and have the ability to restore those items as well, whether that's a single item or multiple items. But probably my favorite thing, being a little security focused, is the ability to say what users have access to what. So by default, your global admin is going to be a global admin here in Veeam Data Cloud, but you have the ability to create additional roles. And we have some predefined roles here for you as well. Self-service, limited restore, so on and so forth. And you can see I have a limited restore one here. And so they're only able to browse and restore items. They're not able to view or manage backup jobs. And they can't preview emails. They can't download it locally. They can't do a restore for anything other than back to the original location. So this is great for companies that have somebody that's handling maybe restore operations in a help desk style role, but you don't want to be able to give them access to do anything with that data other than send it right back to where it was backed up from. And of course, in our settings as well, we have reports. So we have a mailbox protection report. If you want to add users back into your organization add users into your organization for admin, you can do that here by simply providing their email address and what role they're going to be assigned to that we just talked about. So that's a really quick overview here of Veeam Data Cloud. And I know we had more to get into, Colin, so I'll go ahead and pass it back to you.
Thank you, sir. Let's pull this back up. And in case you forgot what we were talking about today or who we were, there you go. And let's get over to takeaways. So as Tim mentioned, we do have a few takeaways for you today. So get your phones out, get your QR scanners ready. So first up, we have some interactive walkthroughs, as Tim mentioned. So we have put together some walnuts through the Walnut platform that allow you to go in as a user and learn about the product yourself. So whether you want to do a Microsoft or VDC for Microsoft M365 overview, whether you want to look at how to create a backup or create a restore. We also even have Veeam Data Cloud for Microsoft Azure overview available in there. So make sure you take a look at these. These are great little walnuts for you to go in, have a quick look at how easy and accessible the platform is. The UI experience is seamless. So make sure you take a look at these walnuts when you have a chance. We also have ability to request a demo with one of our subject matter experts. So working with our experienced and trusted team, you're able to get a full walkthrough. They're able to answer any questions you might have and get you set up for success. So make sure you check out this as well as the walnuts when you have some downtime. All right, moving into the Q&A portion. Keith, what questions do we have today?
We have got some questions indeed, Colin, ready to go. I want to thank you and Tim for that great overview. Love seeing what the Veeam Data Cloud is and going over it. I love the ability to offload what is a laborious chore from IT admin's plate. That is for sure. So it looks like Tim and Colin are ready to answer some questions now. Fellas, you ready to go?
Ready to go.
All right. Outstanding. Well, let's get to it. First question up. Jeff asks, we use Veeam for our on-site virtual environment backup at present, but are looking at Microsoft 365. Will this require a new license to back up M365 to our on-site repository? Thank you for that, Jeff. That is a great question, gentlemen.
Yeah, so with the Veeam backup and replication, right, that's licensed per virtual machine workload. For M365 backups, because the workloads are so different, this is licensed per user. So the 365 Veeam backup for Microsoft 365, you'll hear me call it VB365, is the on-premises product. That would be licensed per user, and that would be installed locally, right? And you have the option to back up to local disk or to object storage. It does not actually consume the existing Veeam backup and replication repositories that are geared for virtual machine and server backups. These repositories for the M365 backups are geared specifically for this type of message type, objects, messages, OneDrive documents, things like that. So both the Veeam Data Cloud and the Veeam backup for Microsoft 365 are licensed per user.
Okay.
Great question.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, next up. Do we need to add users manually every time we add a new user? What do you say to that, Tim?
Yes, thankfully you do not. Obviously, if you want to protect the entire environment, then we'll go ahead and just set a backup job to protect the entire tenant, all the users. And that way, as new users get created and added, or old users get removed from the organization, they'll automatically be placed into the backup job or automatically removed out of the backup job. For customers who are not backing up the entire environment, we typically recommend that they use Microsoft 365 groups or security groups as the source. So you could have an accounting group, and you could have a C-suite group, or maybe even just you create a group that says backups. And then we can use that group as a source. So as users get added or removed into that group, they're added or removed from the backup jobs automatically.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Bill wants to know, can you lock roles down for users or groups to be unable to restore specific users groups? And he gives an example. So for instance, an HR person, so that an HR person cannot restore info from the CEO's mailbox. So in that kind of scenario, what would happen?
Gotcha. So yes, thankfully you can. In the roles area that I briefly showed on the screen there, one of the abilities is to say these users can only perform restore operations on these other users. And those could be groups as well on either side. So you could say only help desk group has the ability to restore from the regular users group or the accounting group. And you can also do the opposite. You can say, help desk has the ability to restore everybody except for the CEO, or except for this group of privileged C-suite users.
Okay. That kind of granularity is just so nice to have and so important nowadays for sure. Okay, next up. How easy is it to migrate from another backup software? I mean, this is, a good question because obviously there are other games in town,
Yeah, so migration is one of those things that's really difficult to do, unfortunately, because every backup vendor will store their data in a different manner. Most of the time, the products are just going to be kept around until you age out of your platform. Now, that being said, for customers who are already using Veeam backup, Veeam backup for Microsoft 365 on premises and storing their backups, let's say in Azure, we can easily migrate them up into the Veeam Data Cloud so they can keep all their existing backups. But obviously, when migrating from another product, that company doesn't provide any way for that data to be extracted out. However, most of them do provide ways to export out to PST or archive out in that way, which would be something I'd recommend. But the good thing to remember is that, when you perform a backup of Microsoft 365 for the first time when you're onboarding into Veeam, is that, we're going to collect all that data that's there. So, if the data has still existed in the mailbox or is still there, it's going to back it up. So the likelihood of any data loss would be very low when transitioning over to the Veeam platform.
Okay, very good, very good. Okay, Nelson has kind of a best practices question. And he asks, should small businesses stagger their air gap backups to every other month? And if so, would that be considered uh, best practices and a safe practice depending on the savings? So this is a really interesting question for the SMBs that are out there in terms of trying to save a little bit of money. So staggering air gapped backups to every other month, what would you recommend for that?
Yeah, I think it's going to vary depending on, right, if we're talking about backing up servers or virtual machines, or like here, what we're talking about with M365. When we're talking about protecting Microsoft 365, especially over to Veeam Data Cloud, you're going to a completely separate storage platform than where your data
Right.
is, and which would be inaccessible from your production M365 environment. So it's gapped securely from that perspective as well. And because it's a forever incremental style backup, right? We're querying messages for changed or modified dates or documents or SharePoint for our checksums for changed data, that it's just there's no reason not to continue to perform backups daily or multiple times a day. There'd be no differences as far as keeping that data safe, or costs or anything else like that.
Okay, terrific. Um, so Bruce has a question. I'm not sure what the answer is to this. How do you back up the backup, and is this even possible? I mean, I'm thinking that
Yes.
you're
Yes, yes.
securing the backup obviously the best you can, but um, I guess making an alternative copy and storing it, in a mountain or something, right? So how would you answer that?
Yes, Bruce, my favorite questions. How do I adhere to the 3-2-1 rule, right? So we need that backup copy. We need that copy of our data. So yeah, for backup of M365 data, we do have the ability to have a backup job as well, or excuse me, a backup copy job as well. So you can have a backup of your backup in case your primary backup had issues of whatever reason.
Okay, nice, nice. Okay, time for I think a couple more questions. How long does it take to implement VDC for Microsoft 365 into someone's infrastructure? And I would add something onto that. How steep would you say the learning curve is in general? So kind of combining those into one.
Yeah, so the learning curve, I think, obviously I work with it quite frequently, but I feel like the UI is very intuitive and matches up with how Veeam has been producing UIs in the past as well. It's designed to look and feel very similar to how you would operate within Outlook or OneDrive, being able to browse that data. So I would say, I'm a little biased, obviously, but I've been told from others that the UI is very simple to use. The demonstration here, I think, showed that. And of course, hop on those walnuts, the links for those in the handouts, so you can walk through a little bit of the UI yourself. Onboarding into Veeam Data Cloud is very simple. If we're going to sign up via the uh, excuse me, if you're when you're onboarding in right after purchase, it's just a matter of you'll get an email invitation to your inbox. You'll click on that, and essentially you're walked through the process of authenticating to M365, and then allowing Veeam Data Cloud to install that Azure App Registration into your tenant, which is how it accesses those APIs securely to access your backup data, or excuse me, access your data to backup. Most of the time, that will take less than 3 minutes for a customer to walk through to be able to have their organization connected into Veeam Data Cloud. And then after that, the backup job starts, and mailboxes with a couple of gig each are easily done within a 15-minute window. And then, of course, larger organizations will take a little bit more time to get a larger amount of data for that first initial backup. And after that, it's just change data only.
Yeah. Those are really short times, and I can mention here also that Veeam certainly has been in this business a long time, and has a well-deserved reputation for ease of use and ease of setup and all that. And if you didn't, he probably wouldn't be as popular as it is. I believe that is fair to say. So, got one more question for you folks today, and I'm going to aim this at you, Colin. So, if somebody wants to get started with Veeam right away, what do you recommend they do as the very next step?
Yeah, absolutely, Keith. I would suggest contacting us via our sales inquiry page, or looking at the requested demo QR code that we recently shared. Set up a demo with one of our SMEs, talk to them about any concerns you might have, what your infrastructure looks like, and they will be able to get you set up for success. So definitely check that out. Feel free to also visit us at veeam.com for more.
All right. And as they say, operators are standing by. So, Colin and Tim, I want to thank you so much for putting together a great presentation, for showing us exactly what Veeam Data Cloud can do. It looks like a fantastic product, and something I'm sure that so many folks are going to be interested in. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for your insights in the Q&A. It was just great to have you on.
Well, thank you for having us, Keith, and thank you for everyone for joining us, and we look forward to hopefully hearing from you soon.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, folks, we are getting close to the end here. We just have one more little piece of business to wrap up before we cut you loose, and that is the Amazon gift card prize drawing for $250, which I mentioned up top. And you do, as another reminder, have to be present for the entire event to be eligible for that gift card. And the person who gets it today is going to be Louis Bosch from North Carolina. Congratulations to you, Louis. We will be in touch ASAP to get you your card. And with that, folks, on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I want to thank Veeam for making this event possible. I want to thank you attendees for being here with us and for your great questions and interest in this topic today. It was a delight to be here with you, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day, folks.